Chapter 2, Physical Features of India. In this chapter, we will read about our country's physical features, that is, mountains, plains, deserts, plateaus, and islands. While reading that, we will also know how they have been formed. So with no further ado, let's begin. India is a large landmass formed during different geological periods. I'll just show you a small section of the previous chapter wherein we can see how India broke apart from Australian plate and moved towards Eurasian plate. While doing so, it went through constant physical changes. You can see the shape of India as it was moving towards north. Now with this kind of massive formations, number of processes such as weathering, erosion and deposition have created and modified the relief to its present form. By relief, I mean the 5 physical features that we spoke about in the beginning. By weathering we mean change of texture or appearance of soil or rocks over a long period of time. It can be due to running water, wind activity, glaciers, etc. And erosion means the process by which the surface of the earth is worn away or displaced by the action of water, glaciers, winds, waves. And last, deposition is the end activity of erosion. When things go from one place and stop at another place, this leads to formation of new landmass, crust, plateaus, rocks, deltas, etc. So now you understand what all physical activities India went through. And not just India, many other landmasses over the time. But the big question is, how did we human come to know about it? I mean, we can talk all intellectually, but the base has to be through solid evidence. Therefore, scientists have attempted to explain the formation of physical features with the help of some theories. One such theory is the theory of plate tectonics. So this theory says the crust, that is the upper part of the earth, has been formed out of 7 major and some minor plates. And when these plate moves, they build up stress within and the rocks above collide, or sometimes large chunk of soil gets separated, leading to folding, faulting and volcanic activity. These plate movements are classified into 3 types. While some plates come towards each other and form convergent boundary, some plates move away from each other and form divergent boundary. In the event of 2 plates coming together, they may either collide or crumble, or one may slide under the other. At times they may also move horizontally past. The movement of these plates have changed the position and size of the continents over millions of years. The land of India displays great physical variation. The Peninsular Plateau is one of the ancient land masses on the Earth's surface. It was a direct piece of Gondwana land. Let's now read about the Gondwana land. So the peninsular region of India is the oldest landmass. It was a part of the Gondwana land. So this Gondwana land comprised of several countries like South America, Africa, India, Antarctica, Australia. So this was all one single landmass once upon a time. So what happened was the crust broke into number of pieces and everything started drifting apart. As you can see how South America moved towards the left hand side and Antarctica went towards the south and India and Australia moved towards north and east. So at that time India was a part of Australian plate, but then we got separated from that as well and we started moving towards north. And then what happened? It got collided to the plate which is much larger, which is also called Eurasian plate. So before this collision there was all water in between the Indian plate and the Eurasian plate. And this water body was named as Tethys Sea. So all the sedimentary rocks which were there at the bottom of the sea, they started folding up. As a result, Himalaya was born, and that's why you'll see the land is uplifted in northern India. But in the northeastern side there was a huge depression, meaning low land, which over the time got filled with the deposition of sediments brought down by the rivers flowing from the mountains in the north. And this is a reason why Ganga and Brahmaputra drains in that region. So this is quite fascinating, isn't it? I mean, getting to read all of this and going to those places and seeing those land features. No wonder the geologists enjoy what they do. And another thing is that these Himalayas and the northern plains are most recent landforms. Hence, they are also very high risk zone when it comes to earthquake. Because the land is not stable. Unlike Peninsula region, which is a complete land block that broke from the Gondwana land. On one hand, Himalayan mountains are unstable zone, but it is very rich in alluvial soil. So alluvial soil is formed from fast flowing rivers. And Himalayan mountains consist of high peaks. And these high peaks generate a lot of ice, glacier. And when they melt, they come rushing down, passing through deep valleys and making huge cuts in between the mountains, and flow all over northern India and eastern India, and finally drain into the Bay of Bengal. And we know fast flowing rivers, that is running of water, brings new soil, and that is the reason the entire northern plain consists of rich alluvial soil brought down by the fast flowing rivers. But Peninsula Plateau is quite different than the northern plains. It is composed of igneous and metamorphic rocks. Igneous rocks are those rocks which are formed through the cooling and solidification of magma or lava. And metamorphic rock is a type of rock which has undergone change by extreme heat and pressure. And since Peninsula Plateau is the oldest landmass, therefore these two rocks are bound to be present there. Now we will read about the major physiographic divisions. They are the Himalayan mountains, the northern plains, the Peninsula Plateau, the Indian desert, the coastal plains, and the islands. First one is the Himalayan mountains. We just read about how they were formed, and also that they are geologically young, and it consists of huge chain of mountains, all residing in the northern borders of India. Himalayas is one of the most rugged mountain barriers of the world. The Himalaya consists of high peaks, and due to the flow of fast flowing rivers, deep valleys and gorges have been formed. So this creates very ruggedness on the landmass. And this is the reason there is no railway establishment also. Like you don't have much of railway facilities and tracks in north part of India, because you need a stable land. The length of this mountain range is 2400 kilometers and the width is 400 kilometers. And as you go towards the eastern side, it becomes much narrow by 150 km in Arunachal Pradesh. The Himalaya consists of three parallel ranges. The northernmost range is known as the Greater or Inner Himalayas or the Himadri. The mountain peaks over there have an average height of 6000 meters, 2000 short of Mount Everest. That long it is. So the core of Himalaya is made out of granite. And we have read earlier what are granite. These are rocks formed due to solidification of magma or lava, and which also tells that when Indian plate was colliding with the Eurasian plate, there must have been a huge volcanic eruption under the seabed of the Tethys Sea, and due to the solidification of that magma, granites were formed, which is now the core part of Himalaya. And on top from outside it's snowbound. And we know this, that rivers are formed due to the melting of these ice, snow or glacier. So I hope you understand this part pretty clearly. Now as you go towards the southern part of Himalaya, now this range over here is called Himachal or Lesser Himalaya. And obviously here the heights of the mountain peaks has to be lesser than the above one. So here it varies between 3700 to 4500 meters. So Pir Panjal is one of the longest and important range over here, followed by Dhauladhar and Mahabharata range. And we also have some famous valleys like the Kashmir, the Kangra, the Kullu Valley, and this region is well known for its hill stations. And the last and the third part of Himalayas, that is the outermost range, this is called the Shivalik. And the width of this range is 10 to 50 kilometers. And the heights of the peaks in this region has to be very low, that is 900 to 1100 meters. In this range you will find mostly sedimentary rocks brought down by the rivers from the main Himalaya. So as the river comes, fast flowing river comes from top, they come with a full pressure and they bring huge chunk of rocks, boulders with them. And this range is also rich in alluvium soil, and some of the famous duns like Dehradun, Kotli Dun, Patli Dun are well known and they are present in this range. So this was all about the three important ranges of Himalaya.